Greetings, YouTube. This is Brandon Hill here with Terrence Pegasus, and together we are the creators of Wild Space Saga, the epic sci-fi action adventure series you didn't know you needed. And this is the Wild Space Wildcast, made specifically to tell you exactly why you need it, and as we've been around for a hot minute, in relative silence on DeviantArt, what you've been missing. But before we begin, take a moment to subscribe and hit that beautiful notification bell so that you won't miss a single bit of news, events, and live streams from our channel. Whether you catch us live or are watching after the fact, we want you to join us on the Northwest Passage. And finally, if we piqued your interest, links to our books available in paperback and ebook, as well as everywhere else you can find us on social medias, are available down in the doobly-doo. All right, so what we're playing right now, ladies and gentlemen, is just a little tribute to the late, great Chuck Norris, who counted to infinity twice. All right, and today,
Death is now having a near Chuck experience.
yes, he did. And then, I hope, well, Death had to ask permission to take Chuck, so there we go.
Well, hence why I had to do a song. I mean, I'm a massive action movie person for my entire childhood, so this basically had to be made in this style as well.
I was always a big sci-fi junkie over an action movie guy, but
all of it though,
Yeah, I've watched a few of my fair share of action movies. Like one of my favorites was Speed. I remember we were in study hall in high school, and to pass the time, we brought Speed and played it, and we had one girl in the classroom was like freaking out the entire time of the movie. She was sitting there, on the edge of her seat. I had never seen somebody that, with that kind of speaker tightening, just like stressed. And well, that movie does do it.
I've never been that into Speed, but then, I grew up on Predator. I mean,
yeah, I was my parents were very particular about the movies that I watched, so. I didn't exactly watch the ones.
They were supposed to be in my family. I mean, but kind of grew up. I don't know. Just never seemed so bothered. I saw RoboCop at like 9 years old. I mean.
Well, I had a friend in our neighborhood who watched all the movies that we weren't supposed to as kids, and so that's how I got a chance to watch a lot of movies. A few of them that kind of freaked me out, like. I had no idea why the original Night of the Living Dead freaked me out so badly. Maybe not the original, the remake of the original. Either way, maybe it's just because I was a big scaredy cat as a kid, and I had to ride my bike home all alone, and it was really quiet out in the neighborhood and really windy that day, and this movie kind of freaked me out. But I didn't exactly watch a lot of the movies that had like horror elements when I was growing up, because I was a big scaredy cat. I mean, to this day I can't watch Poltergeist alone.
And you see, film wise, there isn't really a film that does that to me. Music wise, however, if you've ever listened to it, was Jeff Wayne's musical version of the War of the Worlds.
No, I don't think I heard that one.
It was a huge production here in the UK, and my mum had it on LP. And now the story of it all is quite scary, but the sound the guy produces the song, the music, and everything, it's proper eerie to the point I can't listen to it at night. Even now, at 40 odd years old, I can't listen to it at night. Daytime won't bother me. You put it on at night and it'll get stuck in my brain, and I'll worry about it, dreaming about it.
Never really had music that freaked me out. Well, okay, one song, but nowadays I actually don't. It doesn't scare me. I guess it was just some element of the melody that was a little bit scary for me. And that, you're probably gonna laugh. It's Just the Two of Us by Bill Withers.
You and I, yeah.
No, well, it had that almost creepy sounding chime thing. The beginning of the thing, yeah.
Well, where you've got the producer playing the triangle, so you can get a bit of royalties. What Simon Cowell used to do on a lot of records when he was an early record producer, just ting the triangle in the background because then he's a performer on the record and he's eligible for royalties.
Wow, that's scummy. Well, anyway, so there is one thing I forgot to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, right quick before we continue, and that is, of course, that our we already mentioned that our books are available, and these are it right here. These are the originals before we have the new releases.
Come on.
This
pour us out, man. Pour like that. That's good. I love it.
And let's see, Wrath and Redemption. That's book 2, and our upcoming book is Twisted Faith. It will be coming out in May. This one is going to continue the story of Wild Space Saga, and just like I actually drew a character and posted on our DeviantArt, who is actually part of the story, but it's the character much later down the road in life. So if you want to be interested, we do have the link to our DeviantArt down in the doobly-doo. Have plenty of concept art that we had discussed at one point in time, a few like little issues back where we shared a lot of our artwork. Let me see. So Timber just kind of chill and relax and talk about various things, especially like elements of things that were our kind of inspiration for Wild Space Saga, those types of things. I forgot to mute my phone and go ahead and put that back. Can't really help the noise that comes through my computer, unfortunately. But our favorite guy isn't here today. I told him that we that we do have a live stream. Oh well, but
Yeah, but I mean, we can't afford to pay him to turn up every time to look like we've got viewers.
Well,
to be fair, we're well aware our audience is extremely small right now, but you don't get anywhere by not doing this. So here we are every week.
It seems we have 3 viewers anyway, and just nobody said anything in the chat area. But hey, for those of you who are watching, hey, if you have any questions to ask us about our books, about who we are, where we come from, anything at all, yeah, we'd be more than happy to answer. Just go ahead and let us know in the chat area.
Well, I will, because I pay attention to the comments, but Brandon just tends to waffle on and not notice. So
I had the chat area open. It wasn't that I wasn't noticing; it's that I didn't have the icon on the chat thing. I kind of have to look around.
It's right, because I will tease him relentlessly, regardless, and Brandon will bite every time. It's one of the most fun things I can do live on stream. Is just watch him squirm as he takes me seriously every time.
He's pure evil. But that's okay because you're evil.
Yes. So you should be, Finn. How dare you? How dare you be a whole 7 minutes late for the stream? What's wrong with you? Seriously.
Oh man.
Oh, God, it's like our one viewer and he's not here. I mean,
hey, but welcome to the stream, dude. You have any questions, comments, anything like that? Strange requests,
At the end of the day, our streams may not always line up with when people can join us. We're aware of that, which is why you can always watch it another time. It's just if you're here, we can tailor the content to your comments. And
one of the cool things is we're trying to expand World Wild Space Saga, and Terry's been doing an amazing job of that when it comes to what our Instagram game is going on right now with our little know-it-all Pip, who's going to be hosting a lot of different things coming up very, very soon.
Well, this is actually based on Finn's feedback. Actually, you were talking about lore dives last time, Finn. So you may have seen the little short I've put out of lore dives with Pip. The idea is actually, whilst we could go through our background lore as we are here, I want to do something a little bit different and try and make it a bit more in universe for people, or in a way, fourth wall breaking with Pip, because she's the kind of character that would do that. So I'm working on a way to try and present it as if it's her telling the stories for you. Now, obviously, listening to us, it's going to be quite obvious if we're putting a voice on. So I'm looking to all different ideas, even trying to maybe potentially train an AI voice to read things out that I give it, and then can try and program the emotion, everything like that. It's a lot of strange work, different work that I'm used to doing, but it's just something I'm trying to create. Because I just think it'll be something a bit different for people than having us recite all the background to the stuff. You'll have it done through a character in a different way, and you'll get to learn all the different aspects of the world through an actual character's eyes.
Yeah. So yeah, and well, it happens to be the most talkative and smarmy little thing.
Well, yeah, she's a little shit. That's the point, and she's perfect for this kind of thing. That's why I mention her so much and I use her so much in this context. You know,
This is just how much of a smarmy little thing she is. In the second book, there is a scene where two characters are kind of having a moment, and she just pops in, being Little Miss Pedantic, which is like, why would you do that?
Well, it's a tech tank thing because they're used to data feeds. They'll infiltrate their way into every little input they can. And what often happens with Pip is she will nose in on conversations that perhaps she shouldn't. And then if she has an opinion on it, doesn't have the wherewithal to not give her opinion over the comms network. To which point, oh, so you are there. Why shouldn't I be surprised? You know.
Fortunately,
and then usually university told to shut up.
Yeah,
second person. Hello, Captain Root. Welcome.
Yeah. And she faffos constantly, so you know that at least is her lot of karma in this universe for that kind of stuff that she does. Oh man, yeah. I don't know if we have any other characters that are quite as overflowing with personality as Pip. Maybe
that's why I'm using her for a lot of the sort of content output. In that way, though.
But she does actually inspire a particular character from our Reckless crew to be brave. Let me see. She fed post. What's fed post? Don't think I've ever heard that one.
Yeah, though you've lost us on that one, Finn. Just I need a bit of context, and I might be able to actually then.
Yeah, we're old.
Sorry, mate.
We're old. I try to keep up with internet lingo, but that doesn't always work out.
Well, I mean, I'm finally mobile again after blowing out my Achilles, and it's not 100%, but it's 90% there.
Let me see. Fed posting.
Have you noticed?
Noticed by the
She's not that bad.
Yeah.
In fact, what would get her in trouble is she would probably infiltrate the federal authorities out of curiosity, a bit like the young lad from the UK did a few years ago, and then USA tried to extradite him. Yeah, he was just looking for proof of UFOs for his own personal thing, but because he actually managed to break in, it was like, no, I think we're going to have a word with you, sir.
Yeah, the fact that that she works for a team of mercs that doesn't always do a lot of legal things. She does know how to be discreet when it comes to dealing with the greater galaxy.
Yeah, now when it comes to edgy is just opinionated.
Yeah, when it comes to
doesn't always know when the filter needs to be switched on.
When it comes to her crew, though, she, kind of all bets are off. I mean, if they have two members of the crew getting some alone time, yeah, she finds ways to hack video cameras.
No, but there is a reason behind that. It's not sort of necessarily perverted as somebody who is curious of what these things are. She's been in a pod most of her life. So, a lot of tech tankers do this, actually. A lot of the freed ones do this. They are curious about people's life. Things that they haven't had for most of their life. They'll watch two people getting it on, getting close, getting intimate, and want to know all about it, want to understand it. So they want to watch it. But they don't always understand that that's not the done thing.
Yeah, she's like Johnny Five in the beginning of Short Circuit. Input.
Very much so, actually. I mean, as much as I might think that's a silly reference, it's not. So often I'll tell Brandon his references are silly, and that one I won't say that because that's the whole point. This is life, this is emotion, this is understanding that you have a personality and that you have feelings. Exactly. And all of these things were suppressed because they were just used as human processes. Suddenly they're manifesting. Sorry, Bo. Go on.
No, just understand is if you take in a tech tank into your ship, you're taking in a little ball of chaos.
Yes and no. Depends what their specialty is.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they're gonna have their quirks. I mean, I like how you have the members of the coven, and the coven, by the way, is gonna be in our next book, our fourth book.
They feature heavily in the fourth book. They're a bunch of. Sorry, I'll keep talking over, Brad. I'm full of energy tonight. I don't know why. But the coven basically, they're a group of surviving tech tanks from a destroyed ship. And they've managed to basically get to the world Zhao and make their own little network and their own little space. They get called the Coven because everyone sees them as little tech witches because they don't speak to anyone. They communicate entirely online to each other. So because they don't talk and they just do things, people see that, especially technology, they can interact with it immediately. People called them witches, so they embraced the name the Coven.
It's what they do. They talk and they do things.
Well, they don't talk. That's the thing.
You didn't get the reference, did you?
Yes, we did get the drink and I know things, but you got the reference wrong. So I had to correct the reference. Don't forget, I actually got my official diagnosis last week, Brandon. So I am officially having the tism. So I will correct you on things inadvertently now.
But that would be awesome. That'd be awesome T-shirt to make. With the tech tanks. We talk and we do things.
But and the thing is, a lot of them, as a result, their personalities are quite quirky. We have obviously Pip, who talks a lot, who is a bit of a know-it-all. But you have one you featured in book 3 called Numi, and she has a very broad Scottish accent because she's decided to adopt that from absorbing all this content that she's had access to. So you end up with this sort of foul-mouthed, aggressive-sounding little creature.
We can barely understand.
Yeah, basically.
You want to get
accent just gets thicker the more the more tense the situation is. It's like, do you know what? Just go, just reconnect and talk to me through the computer again. I can understand you then.
Yeah, you want to get a real taste of her accent. Go look up a little thing on YouTube called Tasteciders in Space. Terry said that to me once, and I was just sitting there like, "Is any of this English?"
Well, they're the guys who do it. They did a couple of comedies. They did a sketch show. It's called Chewing the Fat. And then there's another one that's called Still Game, where they play these two elderly gentlemen, and they get up to stuff because they've not got a lot to do in Glasgow. But because their accents are authentic, and as a result, all the shorthand and all the local colloquialisms are correct. It was a great inspiration for writing Numi.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Even I had to actually go. There actually is a thing that spells out what they're saying and translates it, and I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, so they are. It's like that scene from Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet where you have Princess Merida. They're speaking in that really, really thick Scottish accent. I didn't even know that was English until someone slowed it down and actually showed what she was saying. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, it's a bunch of blessings in really thick Scottish slang. So,
mind you, if you go the other end of Britain, like the southwest, the Cornish accent, which is apparently English. Good luck. But then that's why several of the tech tank characters you'll meet in book 4, one has a Welsh accent, one's Ukrainian. So despite them all speaking English in their web sphere, they all have their various accents because originally they communicated in different languages. It was to prevent a hacker from taking over each hub because they communicate different ways. But it means when this particular one gets upset, she starts cursing, obviously, in full Ukrainian instead of translating it in real time. It's like, we actually know what you're saying. The system translates it.
You see, I heard the Elizabethan English sounded like a Cornish accent.
It possibly did. Because what a lot of those sort of more niche languages, they got driven to the edges by various invasions and battles and things like that. So
wasn't that the
you
English
get the hybrid English language that everyone knows now?
Wasn't that the English they spoke during Shakespeare's time?
that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, frankly, I find Shakespeare's plays somewhat overrated, but the guy actually sort of standardized a lot of spelling.
Depends on the play. Romeo
But
and Juliet is overdone, even though I do kind of like it. It's depressing. But
I mean, you say that, but I found it a great Dire Straits song.
what?
And you haven't read Shakespeare till you've read it in the original Klingon.
Ha ha ha. I never read Hamlet, but I did. We went in class. We did read Macbeth, and I did enjoy Macbeth.
The trouble I have is whenever I see To Be or Not to Be, I keep thinking of a Mel Brooks film, which featured the Hitler rap, and it was To Be or Not to Be. Oh baby, can't you see we're going to take it to the top? If I remember right, and it's him rapping as Hitler and what they're going to do with Europe.
No Shakespeare plays take place in the New World. Well, I mean, have you ever seen the modernized version they did of Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio?
That's because it wasn't really very well established back then, and a lot of the plays the plots he nicked from European folk tales anyway.
Oh, I mean, like A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Well, yeah, and Romeo and Juliet. It's Italian. It's an Italian tragedy, hence the names in it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does take place in Italy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's because he nicked a lot of that kind of stuff from it.
And of course,
I say nicked, you know what I mean? Adapted.
Yeah, and then, of course, Julius Caesar. You know.
Yeah, really, what he did best was when he did that, he kind of standardized a lot of English spellings and words because there were so many local words and spellings for things across the country. Nobody seemed to know what each other was talking about.
Okay, we need to add some Julius Caesar to Wild Space Saga. Excuse me, Shakespeare to Wild Space Saga.
Do we though?
Yeah, just like references.
Yeah, but do we though?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry. I was waiting for him to keep going, and then I'll just keep saying it over him like I usually do every week, at some point in the week.
Oh yeah, we know
you know that
The Lion King was definitely a Hamlet reference, and yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, Lion King 2 was Romeo and Juliet, though with a happier ending.
I mean, of all our characters who'd probably do that would probably be Izumi, because she's another former tech tank who enjoys printed media, so would rather disconnect and read books.
Well, I mean, we also could use like one of the tanks in the in the space hippie fleet. You know, might be into into Shakespeare. Or something.
There's plenty.
Yeah,
there's plenty of opportunities.
We
wouldn't poo-poo it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we as a matter of fact, like the other day, we were discussing a particular type of tech tank, but we're never able to kind of come to a real idea about how we would be able to implement it. You know. So
that's more because Brandon goes, Terry, I have an idea, and I immediately go, no. He says, yeah, but no. But I had this no. That's usually sort of my response to most of it. Yeah.
Well, no, you liked the idea, but you were saying that one tank couldn't do it. But
I know. I'm teasing you.
Let me see. The space hippies need weed. Some kind of are, but not all. Most of them.
Dude, where's my shuttle? Yeah.
They're more like I'm trying to think. I guess space hillbillies, maybe space rednecks. No, maybe not rednecks, but even though I do like rednecks, I'm just saying is that it wouldn't quite go that far. They're
more space pacifists.
Yeah, think of them as space gypsies in a sense. I mean, I know the gypsies don't really like being called that, but they're traveling. They are basically traveling.
Oh no, they're not. They're not space sovereign citizens. No.
No.
States' rights. I just saw that. It's like no. They're more a case of they don't really want to be tied to anyone in particular.
They are sort of treated as a nation unto themselves, but there are multiple fleets. They kind of are self-sufficient. There are a bunch of they're fleets that are kind of attached to each other, and these massive fleets, and they have like habdome ships that where they grow crops, and you know people.
They drag massive O'Neill cylinders around with them.
Yeah, they're basically they're basically like their own insular communities that just go from place to place. They produce their own wares. They have their own, each
A lot,
fleet has its own unique culture.
a lot
And
of
they
their
make them.
ships are quite literally other salvage ships they've bolted together to make one big ship.
Yeah, I was inspired by if you've ever read Kevin J. Anderson's Saga of the Seven Sons, there's a faction in there called the Roamers, and they basically, when humanity started sending out arc ships to settle different worlds, this particular ship had settled on a world, but a plague caused the colony to break down. So they fled the survivors fled that planet and basically just started banding together in various fleets and learned how to make their way just out in the greater universe without really settling on any planets. They built space stations and plied their trade and extracting various chemicals from comets, from nebulae, gas giants, that kind of stuff. And basically, they were just considered roamers. A lot of people don't like them because they refuse to bow the knee to the big government, the Terran Hanseatic League. But yeah, they're a little bit like that. But in Wild Space Saga, nobody really hates space hippies, though they are vulnerable to like the really bad elements of space pirates and getting attacked by them.
I always saw that as because they're very much pacifist. They have some armaments on their ships, but it kind of goes against the way they feel. So they don't arm their ships heavily. And because people know that, I always think their primary thing, I always looked at it as their primary thing is shields. They put everything to powerful shields. But if somebody's got a powerful weapon, that shield's not going to hold forever.
If memory serves, the Romai they're believed to be from India. I don't know if they've ever been able to completely confirm that. But then again, I haven't read like a whole lot on them. So, but yeah. Let me see. But anyway, yeah. But the space hippies in our story, they're not like one homogenous group. They're many different people from many different walks of life. Also, many Felians have joined in them. So you have a very high amount.
They're a bunch of furries here.
A very high amount of hybrids being born out of space hippie fleets. They tend to have like big extended families. Like you have neighbors and friends who you consider your family, and one kid is going to be, even if maybe something happened to their parents, they're going to be quickly taken in by another family, and they have a massive extension of a bunch of cousins and aunties and uncles who may not be blood related, but they're still family. So.
Well, it'd be their equivalent of catnip.
Yes, you do actually have something that has something akin to that effect on them called RIS.
Yeah.
It's an aphrodisiac that it only affects Felians. Well, actually, like high concentrations of it will affect humans, but I don't want to give too much of that away. That's in the second book.
It's how basically when Tiger tries to escape Alexa, she then just lights a big candle of that and effectively chloroforms him with it and drags him off.
Yeah, he's RIS. Yeah, basically it makes them horny. Yeah. So yeah, that is like if you ever go to a Felian pleasure house, of which there are many. That is the one smell that is going to hit your nostrils like a punch to the face when you enter that place. You are going to smell RIS everywhere. So, but yeah, that's pretty much like I mean, there are drugs, but I never really focused a lot on that. I might do that at some point in the books. It's not going to be like one of the preaching story about you're bad and gay. What were you trying to say, dude?
BTS is the main sort of narcotic, as it were, in our universe.
Yeah, it stands for better than sex. So.
But it does funny things to androids, so androids like to get their hands on it.
Yeah, you see, with androids, they're connected to a network system normally, so that usually keeps them stable. But when they disconnect from it, they start getting their own ideas. They start to experience something that is equivalent of like if you ever played the Halo games, something that's equivalent to rampancy. Yeah, it makes them go cray. So
there's plenty of them as well. Modders. Ugh.
Yeah, and that will also do it too. They start messing with stuff in their brains. It'll definitely
Well,
yeah.
I came up with it with Brandon's androids. I came up with the idea of one's called modders, who basically it's the android equivalent of turning yourself into a Cenobite from Hellraiser. You know, you just look absolutely disgusting and crazy and do crazy things because, well, your processor can't handle the individuality, really.
We have such things to show you. Well, that's just a Mandelbrot set. Wait, what's that thing? Where's it go? Ah! I can see androids, robots, cyborgs getting high by putting a magnet to their brain. They're not that. They're
not sort of in that. So they're not as mechanical as that in that same way because we use a lot of that nanotechnology for a lot of our stuff. Their systems are quite quantum based.
Yeah, and also the stuff that would be affected by magnets, I could imagine, are highly shielded. So, they could walk in front of an MRI scanner and it wouldn't hurt them. So,
I mean, beating their head against the MRI scanner would certainly hurt them. But other than that, that would hurt most people. But
that reminds me, there was this video I saw of this lady who it was in a doctor's office. She went into an MRI scanner room and took a pair of scissors out and was about to hold it right up to the camera. Several doctors burst into the room and tackled it out of the ground.
Well, when I used to do my mental health role, because we used to work with high risk people, I actually had to be in the MRI room while this person had a scan. Never mind that they're immobile. This person, they had one arm didn't work at all, didn't function at all. It's just because the restrictions, the Ministry of Justice restrictions on him being out there required an escort to be in arm's length at all times. So I had to remove everything metal so that I could go and stand in the same space.
Yeah. I remember you did have some stories to tell that job. Fortunately, I never had to work with. Well, I mean, I had to work with people who were autistic, but they were more along the lines. They varied in their severity, but only one or two really had issues. And fortunately, I worked at night when they were supposed to be sleeping. One of them, though, had trouble adjusting to the place to the home where he was being put, and so sometimes had to deal with him. And he had to make sure that he washed his hands and was clean after he went to the bathroom because he had a tendency to play with fecal matter. Yeah, it was gross.
So, just in response to Finn, absolutely. This is the alternate version to what I actually posted on the channel. Because when I make the songs, it creates two variants, and sometimes I will use both. And sometimes one is awful, and I will only release the one. Well, I shared them both with Brandon because they were both fantastic, so he picked this one for the stream tonight. So I may have to share it with you guys at some point. It was just for now, I only shared the one on the day because, well, the man's a legend and had to be done.
Yep, that was the reason why I decided to put that song in, Well,
I thoroughly demanded it in the 5 minutes before we came on stream. You're not putting any other tune on. Chuck Norris tune. Put it on. Yeah.
We had to do a tribute to the man who got bit by a cobra, and after 3 days of excruciating pain, the cobra died. So, yeah.
I do have, unfortunately, because we know inevitably Arnold Schwarzenegger will go one day, I do have Get to the Chopper queued up, ready to make for that day.
That both.
Yes, I have a title for it as well. I know, but I'm prepared with Get to the Chopper. Even a Stallone one, they're all in the works because I've had these in my head for years, and it's only thanks to generative AI now that I can create these tunes and release them from my mind. So imagine I was sitting on this one for a while as just a song about Chuck Norris.
I didn't even know that
tribute to him.
I didn't even know that he had passed away. He pops in on Messenger as we like to do, and he shows me this video of Chuck Norris beating like a million deaths. And I thought it was just some random stuff.
That one, the first Million
like,
Grim Reapers.
This is silly, but it's fun. And then, like, later on that day, I learned, Chuck Norris passed away. I was like, oh my God.
It was a friend of mine in one of my other chat groups with my local friends, rather than Brandon, because Brandon's 4,000 miles away. So I have friends who are a bit closer than that. And one of them would put, Death's had a near Chuck experience. And you what? And there's like, oh God, it's actually happening. Oh, I do love a bit of classic power metal. I mean, you can tell from the tunes I come up with, there's a big 80s influence in a lot of what I do, whether that's synthwave, rock, power metal. Yeah. I mean, I have White Snake, Def Leppard. These are the things I grew up with, as well as Queen and all the classics.
I mean, AC/DC, we have Thunder as one of the songs and one of the stories that we wrote. So,
Thunderstruck is, Thunderstruck is a legendary.
I don't know why I keep thinking of Thunder, but anyway.
I've heard of them, but I've not listened to them. It's a weird thing with my music over the last 20 years that I never really listened to it on my own. I used to listen to what my family was playing, my sister, my friends would play. I mean, I had a friend at school one time asked me if I liked Smashing Pumpkins, and I thought he literally meant with a hammer. I didn't realise they were a band. And so he looked at me like, what are you talking about? Because I had no musical awareness. And then sort of as time went by, I had friends who recommended first Bruce Dickinson solo stuff, and I didn't know he was the lead singer of Iron Maiden. And then obviously they've gone, well, have a listen to a bit of Maiden. And then I got into Iron Maiden.
You must have not watched MTV much back in the day, because I mean, there was a time where you couldn't get away from. Oh, they didn't have MTV in the UK.
In the UK, well, no, we had satellite and we had cable television, but it wasn't all that affordable to begin with. We had what was it? We had Sky TV. One place we lived, because basically what had happened was they'd hooked it up wrong in the street and gave it to everyone instead of the person paying for it down the end of the road. So that was nice. And then, of course, when they switched from cable to satellite to the dish, that cured that problem. So we were stuck with our standard 4 channels for many, many years, and then 5 channels because they created Channel 5. And that was always hilarious because the signal was always terrible. So you were squinting at it through the graininess of the interference, the digital broadcast doesn't give. It just cuts out on you. But back in the day, when you're squinting at that analog screen, trying to see something through the static, Then came Freeview and gave us a lot of channels.
Okay, well, the reason why I was asking is just simply, but like, when I was growing up, I didn't watch MTV like heavily until the 90s, and by the time we got there, you couldn't get away from the Smashing Pumpkins. So.
For us, MTV was something you saw in the electrical shop with the wall of tellies, so they'd all have MTV on that to show off the brand new tellies,
Kind of ironic because if memory serves, the Buggles was a British group, and that was like the first music video ever shown on MTV. So
well, it's how Money for Nothing kind of came about with Dire Straits. He was basically in an electrical store listening to these 2 New York workmen basically having a dig at all the pop stars on the screens. So he's hiding behind, like in the white goods, hiding behind a fridge going, keep talking, boys, you're giving me lots of great material.
That's pretty good. I didn't know that. But we both actually like a lot of different. I'm very eclectic, but there's very few specific
massive
groups that I'm like really crazy about. I could probably name the specific groups that I'm really, really in love with on one hand. So
if you've been with us from the start, I think it's fairly obvious which my current favourite band is.
No, excuse me. For me, it's Sabaton.
See, I keep getting recommended those on Facebook. My trouble is I'm really stubborn that if somebody keeps pushing something at me, I tend to instead resist it rather than explore it.
That's
so whenever algorithms keep showing me stuff, I'm like, no, I don't want to know.
So that's why you never watch the movies I recommend.
Yeah, stop recommending the movies. I don't stop it. No, you have to watch it. Then I'm not going to. You know.
Yeah, this is the reason why he's probably never going to watch Project Hail Mary until probably like 3 or 4 years from now.
Until I feel like watching it. Yeah.
What?
Until I feel like watching it. It's quite literally that.
And then you're going to be like, why did I wait so long? Oh, yeah, because Brandon told me.
I've always been like that, though. I remember when The Mummy came out.
And, you know,
a friend of mine, they were loving it. Oh, you have to see it. You have to see it. You have to see it. I said, I don't care. I just don't want to. I don't hate the film. I just don't want to go and see it. It could be the best film ever made. You know, it doesn't matter what this film is. Won all the awards. You know, the most fantastic film ever made. If I'm not in the mood to watch it, I'm not going to watch it.
This is why I'm going to keep pestering you to watch Battle Angel Alita, because I know the day you do, you're going to be like, I should have watched this a long time ago.
You know, well, no, I'll get around to it one day. I mean,
no.
You know, like I said, I've now watched the entirety of the Phantasm films and want like 6 hours of my life back. But you know, at least now I know what the whole cycle of those films are now.
Yeah, but you know, just unequivocally about Project Hail Mary, and this isn't like. This isn't a what you call a bit of promotion. That movie was the best movie I had seen in years. So yeah, you really should check it out.
You know, you've got me curious now, Finn. So I'm going to find out
what the most popular anime in the UK is. Okay, I could probably name a few in the US, though I haven't really kept up with the most recent ones. So. He's looking it up.
Yeah, I am. It's ones I've not watched. Jujutsu Kaisen, apparently. Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Chainsaw Man, and Spy X Family, apparently.
I've watched Spy Family. It's really good.
I have seen a couple of those. A friend of mine showed me. They're not bad. Not really things I go out of my way to watch, but you know, it's on.
The Spy Family, it starts off like almost a James Bond-esque type thing, and then like, what if James Bond became a daddy?
I know. I should say a friend showed me a couple.
Yeah. So,
it's more because
the little girl he adopted was a telepath, and the woman he married was secretly an assassin.
You know, it's one of those ones that then, of course, once you've watched it, you just stumble across Rule 34, everything of yore, and you're like, really? Come on.
I'm thinking of well, I mean, it doesn't turn into Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but it's like, what if Mr. and Mrs. Smith? What if Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but they actually genuinely fell in love?
Actually, I think the thing that shocked Brandon tonight was when I made when Worlds Collide reference to remind him it was 10 minutes till the stream came.
10 minutes.
I didn't know you'd seen that film. Me,
really? He's watching Worlds Collide. That
I just think, well, who hasn't? You know, it's been on at some point.
Yeah, but it's an older movie from the 50s, and well, I mean,
yeah, so was War of the Worlds.
Yeah, but War of the Worlds is much better known than When Worlds Collide. So.
Oh, is it? Now you see, now that's an Iron Maiden reference there. 2 minutes to midnight. Kill the unborn from the womb. Yeah.
I see. I don't think
you've not listened. I know when you haven't listened to a song, Brandon. You probably don't even remember that tune, do you?
I know of the song. I just
it's to midnight.
See, I'm not an Iron Maiden fan. Yeah. You are. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know if you must have been aware of the old the Doomsday Clock in the back in the 70s, where it used to be like, and that's the 2 minutes. It was always 2 minutes from midnight. Midnight would be when they launched.
Yeah, we have something like that, and we have we have the DEF CON thing, for the US.
No, this was a thing that pundits had. They had this Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, but I know that. I know about
war.
That.
Yeah, I know about the DEF CON stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the closest equivalent that we have is the DEF CON thing. So, I never.
I agree with Finn on this one. So with bruh, really, Iron Maiden, what's wrong with you? Yeah,
I didn't really get into metal until like the late 90s.
So I didn't get into metal till 2005. I was 23.
Okay, so yeah, I mean,
And that's when somebody lent me a CD, remember?
Yeah, see, metal for me was just not my favorite genre, even though I had heard some things. It's still not like exactly my favorite, but but I do listen every now and again.
With me, it's about a sound because I'm generally noise sensitive anyway. So if a sound doesn't gel with me, I can't sit with it. So there are a lot of metal bands and sort of obviously versions of that. Usually ones that tend to scream a lot, too much distortion, things like that. Once it's at a level where sonically I just can't connect with it, that's like when I struggle with a band. And it's not necessarily there as a result that the band is bad. It's just I can't physically enjoy it, you know.
Yeah, it's like for me, like for instance, one of my favorite band was, it's really a one person band, but either way, is Cell Dweller, and I tried to introduce him to Cell Dweller, and he didn't like the dubstep that Cell Dweller used, even though he didn't use like a huge amount of it.
No, but again, it's just if there's a particular sound that doesn't connect with me, I just don't. And I'll say I won't ever. I might joke and have a tease with people about bands. You know, you have a bit of banter about it, but I won't actually ever truly disrespect someone's choice of music. You know?
Oh, no, I'm not. I never disrespect choice of music.
No, but I'm just saying some people, you know, because people do get quite defensive about it. It's quite fun watching people wind up sometimes. Like I said, my favourite one used to be people. It's only called rap because the C fell off of the printers. And then they'll be like, yeah, but your music's for. I said, yeah, but I don't care.
I mean, there's like a few bands that I might get indignant about, you know, somebody, you know, insulted. But maybe not to the point where I want to.
No, I read it somewhere. I never made it up myself. Okay, I'm not that
no,
creative.
I'm just saying.
No, I was just responding to Finn. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Brandon, confused you there.
Like there's only a few bands that I listen to that I really love, that I might get a bit indignant if somebody insulted them, and really I wouldn't get, you know, that put off, you know, because they're just like, you know, hey, everybody got different tastes, you know, you can, you know, hey, you want to sit there and insult my band, that's fine, but it just, you know, it just means that you're just trying to defend for your lack of taste.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem, Finn.
Battle Vest?
It's not only that, but just where do we? Just thinking what details to give for him to send it to. Gmail.
What's a battle vest? Is that like an actual vest? Do
you mean a vest, or is that a typo?
I'm kind of wondering if it's like a vest that he has like a bunch of pins or something like that from different rock things.
Oh yeah, of course, because yeah. Oh yeah, are you connected to me on there, aren't you? Are you connected to me on Messenger? I think you might be. I think I know who you are now. Just to roll back to what you mentioned about you being impressed with Maiden's lyrics, that was Steve Harris. He's a massive history buff. Yeah. I know who you are now. That's fine. Last time he messaged me, because of the time difference, it was nearly 3 a.m. It's like, sorry, mate, can't talk. I'm actually about to go to sleep.
Whereas I tend to stay up. I tend to stay up like all night long and sleep for most of the day. So
well, I can do that, but currently because I'm now having some interviews for work because I'm capable of working again at last. I've got one at 10 a.m. in the morning, so that's 12 hours time for me. So I'll actually have to go to bed at a reasonable time so that I can get up in plenty of time.
Yeah, me. I'm just I work nights, so I'm practically a vampire.
Yeah. I've been obviously being out of work. I've been up quite late doing various things, from working on our Wild Space stuff to painting my innumerable amount of Warhammer.
Oh yeah, when did I do that Warhammer?
Well, there were times when we'd have a meetup, and basically I'd just do it through my phone. Obviously, for the streams, I'm doing it properly, so I made sure I've got a proper space. He's a day walker. Yes.
I was just thinking, I just call myself Blackula.
Dracula's soul, brother.
Yeah.
I've seen the trailer for that film. I'm tempted to watch it at some point, just because it's a classic film. Looking at the state of it, those old what they used to call them, blaxploitation, wasn't it?
Exploitation movies, yeah.
They were terrible, but good at the same time.
Yeah, it depends on what you're watching. Some of them were actually really good, others not so much.
I mean, to be fair, I did like, was it Michael J. White's one, Black Dynamite, where they kind of took the mick out of the genre. Who the hell is interrupting my kung fu? What is the fun? Mama, you know not to interrupt me while I'm doing my kung fu.
Really, the only blaxploitation movie that I remember watching, I probably watched others, but my dad wasn't really into them. It was The Wiz, and that was like technically the last of the blaxploitation movies. As a matter of fact,
what was it? Sorry, but we keep talking over each other tonight. I'm terrible. I'm just full of energy. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the major one though was Shaft, wasn't it?
Yeah, Shaft is one of the best remembered, but The Wiz is actually really well remembered as well.
I may be familiar with it. I can't. It's ringing a bell.
Anyway, and yes, that was it was a Motown. It was based off a musical that I think that was done by Motown. I think Barry Gordy did that one, and I know that Luther Vandross worked on some of the songs. But what they did, they made the movie out of it, and the movie didn't do well. The movie bombed horribly. I didn't even know this until really only a few years ago when I was watching something that was on the history of it. And the movie itself was a huge bomb. And I was like, that was one of my favorite movies growing up. I used to watch that movie over and over and over again, you know?
It's strange how a lot of the films I really enjoy, sort of the older films like that, you find out were absolute flops and bombs. And it's like, really? Because I sit there and watch that, and people I know, we watch him and go, it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I mean, hell, one of my favorite movies of all time, Tron, was kind of in the box office, and, you know.
But it was also a horribly misunderstood film because the critics thought they ran it in a computer and the computer did all the work for them. It's like, for a film about being in a computer, there's surprisingly little actual computer generated work in it.
I mean, I realize that this now, you know, that a lot of movies. And there's a lot of movies that people do think kindly about and remember fondly that, you know, you look at it back on their history and you realize they didn't do well in the box office at all. You know, the time was
Blade Runner is another example. You think that's a film that's very well respected, was not understood at the time, was not well received at all at the time.
And I know there was a ton of interference by the studio.
Oh god, yeah, I've watched the theatrical cut.
The Lost in Space 1998. Yeah, I wouldn't consider that one a class. But hey, if you love it, you love it. I'm not gonna diss you.
It has its good moments. I actually think old Matt LeBlanc did a really good good performance in that, and shedding the shackles of being Joey in it.
And now I remember Nostalgia Critic did a review of it that was actually hilarious, especially when he had the thing with him dressed up like that monster. Oh, we have a bunch of spiders on them. That became like a running gag with a lot of his.
Yeah. To be fair, the only thing I really hated in that film was the monkey thing.
Larp,
just
yeah, because it was so blatantly CG and not very good CG at all. Yeah. So
the spiders were truly terrifying creatures.
They eat their wounded.
But I mean, do you know there wasn't even supposed to have the time travel element in it? That was shoved in later on by the studio because they realised all the change they made completely destroyed the original plot.
It was like, well, that was the thing. The thing about the movie is that the plot was like the most confusing thing I'd ever seen. I was like, it was like the writers.
It's because it was Hatchet. It was Hatchet jobbed by the studio.
It was what? Hatchet.
It was absolutely. It's a bit like Highlander 2 level of interference.
Oof. Yeah. The movie. What was I trying to say? Oh yeah, I was like, no wonder I couldn't barely understand the plot of that movie. So it's just barely together.
Because it's funny enough, it was a video I was watching about it last week. Because sometimes when I'm painting and I'm painting late, I just have stuff on in the background, and a lot of them were like movies where things you didn't know about them. And yeah, Lost in Space was horribly interfered with.
Now here's what's some that's funny. Speaking of interference by the studios, you had Gremlins 2. When it came out, the guy who created Gremlins didn't want to make a sequel. He thought the movie was fine on its own, a good standalone, but the studio kept pestering him
That's right,
to make a sequel. Finally, he gave in out of sheer frustration, but basically had a contractual stipulation. I get full control over this.
Which is why he made such a surreal movie.
Completely. And they were like, okay, yeah, we'll do it because we want the sequel. And he basically raked the studios across the coals in that sequel. Everything he did was a middle finger to Hollywood.
Yeah. It's like, you know why it's called the new batch, didn't you? Because all the original ones had rotted away because it was foam rubber. So they had to make a whole new batch of Gremlins.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But that was, and the thing is, in many ways, the sequel was actually better than the original, if you ask me.
I think creatively, because the first one is more meant to be a scary tale set at Christmas, proper scary Gremlins, whereas the second one, there are still some sort of scary elements to it, but it is mostly surreal fun.
Yeah. The first one was much more a dark comedy than the second one. The second one was more of a comedy with horror elements, but more a comedy.
Yeah. Plus, you had some good actors of that sort of,
and the visual effects were much better than even in the first one.
Well, yeah, because technology had moved on.
Well, no, there were still practical effects.
No, but technology means better practical effects, Brandon.
Yeah, true.
It doesn't just mean eliminating practical effects. Otherwise, we wouldn't have Chris Nolan.
Yeah, the director was good friends with Chuck Jones. I did not know that. But yeah, so that was just kind of fun, the Gremlins. And speaking of Gremlins, we do have stuff in Wild Space Saga that runs somewhat similar to that theme about crazy creatures with strange with strange powers that you have to learn how to actually take them out. We had something that we added into in a standalone story called what's called Birthright, where it was heavily inspired by the monster minds from Jason the Wheeled Warriors. Now, for those of you who don't know about Jason the Wheeled Warriors, was an old cartoon series from the 80s. I think it only lasted that one season.
It's actually how we met.
Yeah, and it was actually how we met. We were part of a discussion group, an email discussion. This is long before they had social media and all that kind of stuff. It was just a discussion
you used to be part of a mailing list. That's right, yeah. You'd email each other.
Yep. It was a mailing list, and we would talk about the show Jason the Wheel Warriors because it was something. It was just a bunch of people who were nostalgic for it, and there wasn't a huge amount of info on it on the internet. And this girl named Cindy had made
that was back. I think you and we were on that for a good 3 or 4 years.
That was the late 90s and early 2000s. Yeah,
it was, wasn't it? 99, 2000. Yeah, because I know this cartoon. I remember this cartoon. And I come across that. So, though Brandon and I have actually worked together on the Wild Space project for 20 years, I've known him for, that'd be 26, 27 years. I've known you nearly 30 years, B.
Oh, yeah, I know. And what happened, because I remember when I joined that discussion group, I was in college. And I was probably like in the middle of college at the time, or maybe, nearer to starting to the middle of college. So, yeah, that was around 95, 96. And then, so probably like around 96, 97 is when I joined the discussion.
We're old, mate.
But so what I was trying to say about Jason the Wheel Warriors is that the main villains in the story were these creatures called monster minds, which were created after a radiation from an exploding star affected this plant that the scientist named Audric had created to try to end starvation, and a plant that could grow anywhere in the universe. And the plant mutated into creatures with evil brains, and it still maintained the same original function that Audric had created for it. It could grow anywhere in the universe, and they started spreading like a malignant cancer everywhere. And these creatures could transform into vehicle-like things. And so I had these creatures that a character from Wild Space Saga named Tiger had encountered on a planet called the Knives of Blair that had like those same weapons, those weird plant saw-like weapons and bola whips and flails and was like almost like a bowling ball, things that could crush things in. Because it was just straight up Jason Wheel Warriors.
I was just, I have to admit, I noticed Finn mentioned Captain Root, who's been, happily chatting away with us here. And I just had a look at your profile, Captain Root, and realised that it was your character in is that a Star Trek Online uniform? I haven't played it for years, but it looks like one of the uniforms you could have in Star Trek Online.
Well, from what he's told me about this guy, is like he's a big Star Trek fan because we were talking about Star Trek.
Star Trek is great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you might actually notice just behind here, it's the artwork. It's the OG Enterprise. It's still in the cellophane because I didn't want to ruin it. But basically, there's an artist at a convention, Amy, my partner, and I went to, and he did a mystery bag of artwork, and one it was a big. It was a big canvas and then lots of smaller ones. You might notice in the background behind me, in the top, that's actually Jean-Claude Van Damme doing his pose from Street Fighter. That was in there. Yeah. And the canvas was Godzilla. There's this little Star Trek one. I'm sorry, I'm trying to mirror it. I can't even point properly. You can see it. There you go. It's that one there. And then there was one of Jason Momoa, and she's getting frustrated. She's going, "This was supposed to be for me. This is all your stuff." So I've ended up with all the artwork because it was all my kind of stuff.
Oh. Yeah. All right. Well, so yeah. Well, so we kind of time to wrap things up. But yeah, so what we've just been discussing is just things that they're also kind of like our influences for Wild Space Saga. We have a whole lot, and of course we're just two big nerds that have a lot of.
I will say, Captain Root, you can see how we go off on tangents and just waffle like hell. So,
but all of that is kind of tangentially connected to Wild Space Saga. There's a bunch of nerds that we had a lot of influences for, and for Wild Space Saga, for us, it was just sort of like imagine some of your favorite things, your favorite things growing up, especially if you grew up in the '80s. You're gonna see things that you love, or at least nods to things that you love in these books. Star Trek, Star Wars, stuff like Jason the Wheel Warriors, old cartoons, all those good things. Gremlins, stuff that was huge influences of ours. When we were growing up, and also when we first met and started talking about a lot of these different things.
Is that where you're based, Root? You and Finn, are you both based in Poland?
I don't think so. I've heard him talk. He doesn't have a Polish accent.
No, I just wondered because he mentioned Poland. That was all, and I just wondered if that was where they're based. That explains the Keck instead of LOL.
Oh, Florida.
Okay, Florida. Oh, it's Florida man. Right. Florida man.
You're spicy.
Florida man.
Well, so anyway, all I was saying was that, so basically what you heard is like a lot of our influences and things like that. A couple of nerds just kind of geeking out on our favorite things because, that's what Wild Space Saga is all about. It's a couple of nerds writing a book that geeks out on our favorite things, a lot of nods to things that we love that are woven into the story. And so,
just sorry, just said Finn. The reason I mentioned the Keck thing was when I used to play World of Warcraft quite heavily. A lot of the sort of Eastern European players used to use Keck, so that's why I assumed it was something to do with that end of Europe. Maybe they just were doing 4chan like yourself, and I got it wrong.
No. Keck is you don't hear it used that much anymore on the internet, but yeah, it was something definitely.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
Zergrush, Keck. So.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Brandon's itching to get off now because we've done an hour and that's all he can cope with.
No, it's not that I'm itching to get off, but it's kind of that time again. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a nice little closeout here.
It's because one of us actually has a job and one of us is searching for a job. So
So anyway, like I said, a couple of nerds geeking out, and then it's what Wild Space Saga is all about. The books, the things like that, have things that we love woven into them. So as we said before. If you want to check out the books, and the links are down in the doobly-doo. So And this we're gonna go ahead and sign off. Thank you all for joining us. Those who come in after the fact, thank you for watching. We hope you're going to be able to join us in the chat. We hope to hear more and more interesting questions and talk about more interesting things about the book coming down the road. I have some special things, that are planned for later on. Things like we'll do some art live streams because I love to draw. I'll probably be doing some read alouds, that kind of stuff from parts of the book. All that good stuff. Terry's got some things cooking.
Yeah.
And for Instagram, and also he shares a lot of stuff on this channel.
Well, for the YouTube, I am planning to, increase sort of the types of content we're doing. It was Finn who mentioned about doing the lore dive stuff, which is where I got the idea for lore dives with Pip. I am hoping to get one of those out hopefully this week. The first one. Like I said, the way I'm trying to look at doing it is an in-universe thing. So hopefully it won't end up with slides of Pip pointing at things whilst I voice it over. It'll actually be the character talking, but we'll see how far I get with it. But I'm going to try and produce something for you guys because you're here every time, and I just want to actually reward your patience and your feedback.
Yep. Yeah. So like I said, Terry's got a lot of stuff cooking down the road, and so do I.
There's more fun Suno songs coming as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to definitely be kind of featuring them in our videos in the background for those of you who are interested, and also, of course, on this channel on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to our channel, please do, because we got a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe, and especially more books, more stories, and more artwork. Come follow us on DeviantArt. You'll see a lot of our great concept art as well. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for following. Those who come in after the fact, thank you very much for watching. And please, we ask that you will stay with us on the Northwest Passage. And so until next time, this is Brandon Hill and Terrence Pegasus signing off. Peace.
See you later, guys.